Hi, everyone. Welcome to Two Guys Talking Sports. Jordan, these teams are dwindling down.
It's getting slim pickings, especially in high school football. And college football is about to be over.
That's true, yeah. This episode is sponsored by Anderson Brothers Bank, Dillon Internal Medicine, and also Marion Tire.
Did you struggle there with internal medicine?
Yeah,
You all right?
I did. I might need to go see them. Or ask my wife what's going on.
You might. Something didn't sound quite right.
Clemson took on UConn, and no surprise, we knew this was going to be an easy win for them, 44-7. I figured they might even put up more points.
They didn't cover, and UConn had the lead for a little while. Ran the open kickoff back.
Yeah, I was very confused because game started at 12. I was watching game day, so as soon as game day ended, I flip it over, and it's already 7-0.
I know you were texting me like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know.
So UConn opens up the game running the kickoff back, and that was all they did from there.
That was right. You're right.
Yeah.
They gave it a good surge to start with.
They made it seem like they were going to do something, but they didn't. Right. DJ was 21 of 44, 241 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's still not very efficient with football.
In a game like that, I would like to have seen him progress a little bit more. I would like to see him have more passing yards, maybe more than a 1-to-1 ratio with touchdown interceptions.
Yeah.
So did that game really help DJ or
less than 50% passing?
Right, on 241 yards, and you're talking about a defense that they give up a lot of points.
Right,
UConn gives up a lot of points, so the opportunity was there for DJ to improve, and I'm not sure that he did.
Yeah, this should have been a game that he viewed as a practice to get better, and we've been saying it all year. Maybe this just is who he is, and this is kind of a clear cut. This is what he's going to do.
I'm going to say this is who he is so far, but being a Gamecocks fan, you know how it's going to go.
He'll have a Heisman. He'll have a Heisman game against the Gamecocks.
500+ yards against the Gamecocks.
Will Shipley did not play in this game. They held him out. They knew, why risk injury. They were probably going to win this game. He was available if, it hit the fan and, he had to come in. So nothing really concerning injury-wise for him. They just wanted to give him rest going into Wake Forest, which is going to be a really tough game for Clemson.
Huge game for Clemson.
And then also the Palmetto Bowl the following week.
Which probably won't be a big game.
No. Clemson picks up a victory. They get to 7-3 on the year. They'll take on Wake Forest next Saturday, or this coming up Saturday. Coastal Carolina, this was a shocker.
Was it?
42-40 loss. They were favored by 10 in this game.
Was it actually a shocker, though? And I think there's no good news for Chanticleers in a quarterback situation. From what I've heard, is it's going to be an extended absence for McCall. This team, now they've got to find themselves.
Yeah. Carpenter didn't play awful. 17-29, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he's not as efficient as Grayson McCall.
He's not.
And, when their defense let them down like they did in this game, the running game was still there. Bennett had 10 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown. I think they rushed for over 200 yards as a team. So the rushing game was there. The quarterback didn't play awful, but when your defense can't stop them, you needed a Grayson McCall in this game.
And that's not typical of a Coastal defense because Coastal, they haven't been allowing these big scores all year long. And if the offense, the offense scored 40 points. So they spent their time on the field. They anytime your offense goes out and scores 40 points,
you should win the game.
You should win the game. Yeah. But your defense giving up 42, that's not a good recipe.
Yeah, tough for the Chanticleers. They take on Texas State this coming up week. Should be a win for them, but now you're kind of thinking, we were up to number 15 in the country. Now we're out of the top 25, and our coach may be gone.
Right, there has been news floating around about Chadwell to Virginia Tech with the Fuente firing.
Yeah.
But that's hearsay. They don't need to focus on that. They need to focus on becoming the football team they were at the beginning of the year to prove to people that they were a top contender and not like, look, they have a little bit of adversity and they can't go forward. Yeah,
they still have a chance if they can win out, win their conference, maybe get into a big-time bowl game just to prove to themselves, hey, we slipped up here against Georgia State. I won't call the App State loss a slip up because App State's a good team. I think that they just got beat by maybe a better team that day. But this is definitely a slip up.
I'd like to see what Georgia State's record was. Do you have any other?
They were 4-5 coming into this game.
They were 4-5 coming. So now they're a 500 team, and Coastal has not beaten a team over 500 for the year.
Yeah.
So who is Coastal? Who are the Chanticleers?
Yeah, and like I said, if they can get into a bigger bowl game, and prove to people, hey, we were the team that everybody thought we were. But right now, it's not looking like it.
Or go and get embarrassed.
Or go and get embarrassed. That's very possible. So a tough loss for the Chanticleers. I think they'll get back on track this coming up week, though. South Carolina traveled down to Columbia, Missouri, and took a loss, 31-28.
The great Gamecock letdown. So now now we're looking at a bunch of different things. So you're coming off of a huge win against Florida, but not so fast. Was that a good win? Florida was down to Samford.
Yep.
Let's bring that into light. So maybe Florida isn't as good a team as everybody thought they were.
No.
Is that still a quality win for the Gamecocks? Because they beat a 5-4, 6-4 Florida team that's
I think it is
struggling.
because the Florida team against Samford, their defense is down really bad. So us scoring 40 doesn't look as impressive as us holding Florida to only 17. I still think it's a quality win because you came out of the bye and you showed improvement. I think this is a bad loss because you weren't consistent with what you
Samford
did.
scored more points on the SEC team than we did. But Samford's defense now, they're non-existent. They got 70 hung on them, but they still scored in bunches.
Yeah, I think that Florida is just spiraling at this point. I think that the Gamecock game was a tipping point for them.
Mm-hmm.
They fired 2 coaches after the Gamecock game, so at this point they're just on a downfall. Dan Mullen may be on the way out, so it's kind of hard to judge that Florida team that played Samford because they're just pretty much checked out at this point.
They're still an SEC team. They still have to have
Exactly. So that's why it's a quality win.
Yeah. But back to the Gamecocks, 31-28 loss. This is when they needed to win.
Yeah. And we can't put this one on the defense. Yeah, they gave up 31 points, but they were out there a lot.
You're right.
And Jason Brown, I'm not going to put it on him either. 16-30, not great, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. But another stat, probably throw it out there, 38 spins.
Maybe more.
Because every drop back, it was like as soon as either in shotgun or either under center, as soon as the ball hits his hands, he's running for his life.
And
his offensive line is all full.
Right. But I've seen some interviews and different things. He did not capitalize when he had the chance to step up in the pocket.
Yep.
He was looking to evade, and he wasn't taking what was given to him to buy him time to look downfield to complete passes.
Yeah, and that's a rookie mistake. I know he's not a rookie. He's played college ball for 2 or 3 years now, but coming into the SEC is different. This is his second start of the year. And pretty much after that first quarter, as soon as you know you're constantly being pressured, you kind of, once you feel it, is even though a pocket's still there that you can step up into, you're just so used to, okay, I'm being pressured. He was just getting out of there. So, yeah, he missed some opportunities.
He's got to go back to his fundamentals and his coaching, and he has to have some sort of faith. If it's there, he's got to step up into it. If not, the spiral you talk about Florida, his spiral is going to continue with the Gamecocks all the way down the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think if he had played 8 games this year, he would have had more faith to trust himself. But when you're only playing 2 in live action, in-game scenarios, he couldn't trust that line, or he didn't, mentally couldn't trust them. And so I'm not going to put it on him. This is on the offensive line.
He has to take some sort of responsibility for it. I understand you don't want to put it all on him. You don't want to put it all on the offensive line.
No, it's on the offensive line. I'll put it on the offensive line.
I think there's shared responsibility because you look at your backs. They had it says 122 yards, but how many negative plays took away from actually what they did positive?
Yeah, it's hard to throw the ball when you are constantly have someone in your face. It's just,
right.
Even if there's a pocket there, it's just, it gets in your head, and I know you don't like talking about it, but when the Broncos were constantly being able to get pressure on Dak, as good as he is at always stepping up in the pocket, he was spinning. I mean, he just couldn't trust his line that game. It happens. You have games where you just can't trust him.
He's giving us signals. We got to roll.
Dillon took on Crestwood. No surprise here, 41-14 victory. Wasn't until the second half that they really started to blow them out.
Right. So their quarterback Ryder went 10 of 14 for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 6 rushes for 40 yards. So that's not a bad game for him.
No.
And Nemo Squire does what Nemo Squire does. We're talking 25 attempts, 162 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He is a dynamic player for the Wildcats, and he will be a good pickup for somebody at the college level.
He will. They're going to go as far as he'll take them.
The quarterback's not playing bad.
No,
10 of 14 for 182 yards. That's not bad.
No, not at all. I just don't think that they've had a game yet where someone shut down Nemo to force the quarterback to win the game, and hopefully they don't have to.
Is there a defense that can do it?
Maybe coming up this week, Oceanside Collegiate, pretty good team. Unfortunately, Dillon is the only team left for us to cover because Lakeview took on Well Branch, 27-12 loss. They had some chances there at the end of the game to win this game. They scored a touchdown where they were down by 9, went for a 2-point conversion, didn't get it, got the ball again. Unfortunately, fumbled on the 3-yard line, and that's kind of where the score went to 27-12.
So a good season for the Gators.
Yeah.
Don't count them out next year. They'll be back.
No, they'll always be good. PD Academy, no surprise here. They took on a very tough Hilton Head Christian team, 52-23, and this is another one that at halftime it was fairly close.
It was a close game, and I saw something very uncharacteristic for the PD Academy team. I watched a quarter maybe, and one drive. They never did anything but hand the ball off. That's all they did. They handed the ball off all the way down the field. I don't know what happened when the score got like it is, but it looked like it got out of hand in a hurry.
I think this was a game reverse of what Dillon does, where they run the ball so well. Everyone knows PD throws the ball well. I think that was kind of what Hilton Head did. They say, you're going to have to beat us on the ground because we're just going to cover everybody.
Right.
And unfortunately for the Eagles, Hilton Head Christian was the better team this game. So this stops PD's run back to the state championship short.
Well, congratulations to the Eagles.
Congratulations to the Eagles. That wraps this episode. Come back and see us Thursday night, 8 o'clock for our.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Two Guys Talking Sports. Stephen, let's thank our sponsors, the City of Dillon, Wellness Center and the Golf Course, First Citizens Bank, and the Feed and Farm Store. You know anybody up there?
A few people.
Let's jump right into it. All right, so we got an 8-0 Dillon team taking on an Oceanside Collegiate 8-3 out of Sumter.
No, they're not out of Sumter. That's a typo. They're out of the Charleston area.
Okay, thank you for that.
Oceanside, Mount Pleasant, to be exact.
Well, so you set me up there. Oceanside Collegiate, I'm going to slide this in.
Yeah, I thought that you were smart enough to ignore that typo there, but obviously not.
Do you know how many typos I've already had to ignore on this paper? I'm sorry that the last one caught me.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm the only one that does the stats.
8-0 Dillon, 8-3 Oceanside Collegiate. Who you got?
Oceanside Collegiate, I think, is a very good football team.
Okay.
Dillon, very good football team. The 3 losses Oceanside has: Myrtle Beach,
okay,
very, very good team.
Right.
They lost to them by less than a touchdown. Butler, who is first in their conference in 4A, North Carolina,
okay,
very good team.
Okay.
And then Gray Collegiate, step below Oceanside in AA, but they're probably going to win the state championship in AA.
All right, so now since you've given us the history of Oceanside Collegiate's 2021 high school football season, like I specifically asked, who are you taking in this game?
They have a big win over Beaufort, who is 10-2 in 4A football. Okay. They've played better competition than Dillon and survived bigger games, and they're more prepared. I'm going with Oceanside.
Okay, well, you're going to be wrong on that. I'll take the Wildcats, the 8-0 Wildcats, because the gas ain't empty in the tank yet.
Yeah.
Wildcats win this football game.
It's going to be a close one.
Wildcats win this football game. Coastal Carolina takes on Texas State at 1 o'clock, and CCU is a 22-point favorite.
I think Coastal wins. I don't think they cover 22.
Yeah, so a bounce-back win for Coastal. I'll take Coastal on this game as well. They've got to do something. They have got to get it moving. They've got to find their offense. They've got to find their rhythm if they want to make a run at a big bowl game.
Yeah, Carpenter, he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not as dynamic as Grayson McCall, and he just doesn't offer what McCall can offer that offense. So I think Coastal bounces back. They get a victory, but yeah, they're not covering 22.
5-5 South Carolina team takes on a 6-4 Auburn team at 7 o'clock in Williams-Brice. Auburn is favored by 7.5, which I thought would be more than that.
Yeah, well, I think it's down to 7.5 because Bo Nix is out for the year.
Right.
Had to have ankle surgery. I cannot, for the life of me, remember the quarterback's name off the top of my head, but we faced him before at LSU last year when we traveled down to Death Valley, and he threw the ball all over the place. He was also a backup, during that game, and we thought, okay, backup quarterback, maybe we got a chance. No, he had a Heisman moment. Then decided to transfer to Auburn and said, I'm going to do it to them boys again.
One more time. I got one more in me.
going back home to Williams-Brice, maybe that helps a little bit. Playing at night, maybe that helps a little bit. I don't know. After last week, I thought that they were taking a step forward after Florida,
it's the Gamecock letdown. You have a good win, you're going to have a loss. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that they've got to win one of these last two to get bowl eligible. So I think that, sometimes after a high, you need to get slapped in the mouth to remind you, hey, you got to play a little bit better than that.
Do they pick themselves up and they rebound and win a ball game, or they lose?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Gamecocks.
Right. I'm going to take Auburn. As much as that hurts me to say, I'm going to take Auburn. I have lost all faith in the Gamecocks, it feels like.
Yeah, they've got a lot of. If that offensive line comes out in the first quarter doing what they did against Missouri, there's no chance.
Can't hedge your bet. You took the Gamecocks.
Oh no, I'm still taking the Gamecocks. I think that they're going to get the problems fixed.
Clemson 7-3 takes on a Wake Forest, which is 9-1, noontime kickoff, and Clemson is actually favored by 3.5 points.
Yeah, very surprising.
It's in Death Valley.
And that's probably the only one. Usually home field, and if they call it a toss-up game, where it would usually be an even line, home field will give you 1 or 2 points. So I guess they were favoring Clemson whether it was home or away. But I think Wake Forest wins this game.
Yeah, I got Wake Forest, and I got them big.
And only because DJ still is just showing us that he's not consistent. He's not efficient with the football. And this Wake Forest team is good, and they've been good all year long. And they're going to capitalize on his mistakes, whereas the Florida States couldn't quite do it, or Syracuse couldn't quite do it.
Wake Forest can. They can put up points. They can put up numbers. Just look at the North Carolina game they just had. The last couple times they played North Carolina, the total has gone over 100.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Clemson can hope for is that Will Shipley getting an extra week of rest, not having to play against UConn next week. Maybe they can just put it all on his shoulders, but if I'm Wake Forest, I just know that that's Clemson's best option, and I just make DJ throw the ball to beat us, and I don't think that he can do it.
Right. I agree with you. I'll take Wake Forest. Well, that wraps up this episode, guys. If you give us a comment, like, share, we'd appreciate it. And any comments, we'd like to hear your opinions.
We'll see you next week.